some of the health tips that we do in the office, some of the videos as well. So this is called 5 Essentials to Thrive. And I really want to start tonight. We're going to go over kind of an overview of the 5 essentials and how to use these 5 essentials, how to get well and stay well, and how this really, you can transform any disease, sickness, ache and pain, anything that you've been dealing with through these 5 essentials. So this is Deborah. Deborah, when she first came in on the left over here, was, she said, about 60 pounds overweight, had a hard time losing weight after her kids. She was then diagnosed with diabetes and high blood pressure, lupus, fibromyalgia, migraine headaches. And about 6 months later, you see the difference over here. So lost 60 pounds, fibromyalgia gone, lupus gone, off of about 6 different medications. And she did it through these 5 essentials. Okay. So I'm gonna touch base on these, and then the webinar is moving forward, or we're going to take one essential at a time. I'm going to have some guests on. I'm going to give you all the resources that I have so you can really start digging into all of these 5 essentials. But tonight, I want to give you an overview of how this is different than the way most people deal with their health. So most Americans approach their health by what we call the reactionary sick care model. It's not actually healthcare, it's sick care. And we disregard the natural order when you go to the typical doctor. The natural order says there are laws to the way your body was designed to function. And if you cooperate with those laws, good things happen. If you don't cooperate with those laws, look around. We have more heart disease, cancer, diabetes, fibromyalgia, Alzheimer's disease, depression, drug addiction, opioid addiction than any other country in history. And I'm not trying to blame anybody, but I'm trying to tell you there are laws to how your body was designed to function. And these 5 essentials are based around those laws. And they're laws of anatomy and physiology. They're not chiropractic philosophy laws. They're anatomy and physiology, which I spent, and myself and Dr. Ash spent years and years and years learning about. So we're going to teach you those in just a minute. And it's also an outside in quick fix philosophy. You go to the doctor, you say, I have this thing. I have this ache, I have this pain, I have this condition, I have this thing on my blood work, give me some drug for it. That's the quick fix. That's the least I can possibly do. So it's about a lot of shortcuts. Insurance feeds that fire. I was just talking to somebody today. They had kept her mom for 2 extra nights in the hospital after they couldn't tell her what was wrong with her. And I was like, do you think if she didn't have insurance, they would have kept her those 2 nights? And she's like, no, they would have kicked her out immediately, right? So insurance feeds the fire because it's billable things, right? All the tests, all the mammograms and CAT scans and MRIs and all the things that they want people to do, that feeds that fire of that sick care system. And then the final destination is we want to just alleviate symptoms, but I want something so much more for you than that. And by the way, I'm not anti-drug or anti-doctor. That's great for an emergency situation. If you get in a car accident, thank God we have an ER. You know, if you have a heart attack, hopefully they can save your life. Now, my argument is that we probably could have prevented the heart attack in the first place with the things I'm going to talk about tonight. So it's great for an emergency, but it's not great for your main health care. And when I say emergency, I don't mean sinus infection. That's not an emergency. There's things that you can do to get over a sinus infection without antibiotics. We've been taught that you need antibiotics for every infection, where the fact is you generally don't. But if it's an emergency and you're bleeding out your eyeballs, great, go to the doctor. But otherwise, we want to start dealing with it from a proactive standpoint. And that's where these 5 essentials come in. Okay. So if you think about this from the beginning, your body is designed to be healthy. So we just start with that first. You came into this earth, or you came in onto this planet as a walking miracle machine. Just your conception from 2 cells from the time you were created to 35 trillion cells when you were born is a miracle. And you have a miracle happening inside of your body every half a second right now. Just amazing things are going on. Health is your birthright. You are programmed and designed to be healthy. So if you're not healthy, if you think about this for a second, if you're not healthy, it just means you're somehow blocking that flow of health to yourself, right? There's health always ready for or available to you. It's always on the job. It's taking care of 100 billion things every second inside of your body if it's working without interference. So what we want to do as chiropractors, my whole job is to remove interference to that power inside of your body. Okay. So I'm not looking to find the dark switch in your body. We want to make sure that light switch is turned on and that's flowing 100%. Okay. So how do we interfere with your body's ability to be well? It's these 5 essentials. Okay. So the way you could interfere with these is like, if you take the inverse of all of these are the things that are going to interfere with your body's ability to heal. So the first one we call maximized mind. Maximized mind is understanding that you are an amazing healing machine, that you are in charge of your health, not any doctor, pharmaceutical company, or anybody else. And that you have the capacity to be well, and you are powerful and efficacious. You can achieve any result that you want on this planet, including with your health, And because I know that because people around you have done it, people around me have done it, that you have an amazing ability to heal and be well. We don't have to be slaves to our limiting beliefs and we say we're lazy or we're too this or we're too that. We can overcome all of those things. Now, the way you can interfere is by not believing that, right? So if you believe I'm sick, I'm broken, it's just my genes. We're going to do a whole thing on genetics coming up here. Our next big workshop is going to be on epigenetics, where it shows you that's not your genes that determine your health, it's your lifestyle. So you have the power to actually overcome bad genetics, which is amazing. If you think, well, but I got to do whatever the doctor says, the doctor won't let me do X, Y, or Z, is that going to interfere with your body's ability to heal? Of course it is, right? So we want to cooperate with the way your body was designed to heal through these 5 essentials. So having that maximized mind, we'll talk about that in a couple of minutes. Second, maximized nerve supply, right? So you need to maximize that nerve supply to your body that controls everything in your body. I'm going to give you the new neck cervical rehab that we have. I'm going to show you that tonight. I was able to gain 10 degrees of curve in my neck in just 30 days. Dr. Ash put together this amazing rehab that you could do in 3 to 5 minutes. And I'm like, you know what, before we tell everybody else to do this, let's guinea pig it. So I was the guinea pig, and I'll show you my x-rays and what happened in a few minutes, because your nerve supply is the most important thing in your body. It controls everything else. Maximized nutrition, right? So it's putting the right foods in your body. Your body knows exactly what to do with an apple. It doesn't know what to do with a McDonald's apple pie. And that's a fact. Maximized movement. Your body was designed to move. I always say, man created the couch, God didn't create the couch. The more time you spend on the couch, the more you end up looking like the couch, like soft and pillowy like the couch. We were designed to move, and we're gonna do full webinars on these moving forward. And I'll cover some overviews tonight. And then 5 is minimizing toxins. So that's toxins through like prescription medications are probably the biggest toxin or toxic exposure to most people. But then there's also like the products, cleaning products, personal care products, all of those things that you got to know how to read labels and put the right healthy things in your body. So if you do all of these things, you can overcome just about anything. The answer is in 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 of those things. So a couple quick examples. If you have high blood pressure, your doctor diagnoses you with high blood pressure. The way I'm going to help you overcome that is I'm going to take you through these 5 essentials. Number 1, maximize mind. Your body was designed to heal and be well. It's not your genetics. They're going to tell you, well, your mom had a high blood pressure, so you're going to have it. I'm going to tell you that's absolutely not the case. And we're going to do something to overcome this because you can do it. You're not weak, broke, or defective, right? You're not destined to live with this the rest of your life. Because if you give me any disease from anybody on the line, I will show you somebody that's healed of that disease largely through these 5 essentials, right? So like, first is maximized mind, understanding that you can do it. Second, if you have high blood pressure, I'm going to look at your atlas because C1 controls your blood pressure centers. There's a great study on the Journal of Hypertension magazine that showed that people that got an atlas adjustment lowered their blood pressure more than people on HCTZ and lisinopril, which is why I see so many people come in our office and put their blood pressure drugs in the drug freedom trash can by working on their atlas, which I'll show you in a few minutes. Number 3, maximize nutrition. The other part of high blood pressure is caused by inflammation of the large arteries, which is eating too many processed foods and not eating the right foods your body was designed to eat. So if we can get you eating the right things and eating the right way and reading food labels and winning in the kitchen, we can have you decrease inflammation and overcome high blood pressure. It's been shown that exercise 4 days a week, moderate exercise 4 days a week, is more powerful and more effective than a blood pressure medication. So there's maximized movement. And the minimizing toxins. One of the main reasons I see so many people have high blood pressure is because of toxic exposures. My mom was one of those. She had blood pressure that was just out of control. And it was because she was exposed to a lot of toxins. She had mold in her house, but then also the toxic things that she was putting in her body on a regular basis. So when we get rid of those and we actually cooperate with the 5 essentials, that's where we see somebody like high blood pressure getting rid of high blood pressure. Same thing if you take like depression. You know, somebody has depression or anxiety. First thing, I'm going to go back to maximize mind. You have the capacity to heal and be well. You're not doomed to deal with this the rest of your life. If there's a problem, there's a cause. And if there's a cause, there's a solution. Let's get to the cause of the problem. So maximize mind, understand that you can do it. You might need to talk to somebody. You might need some therapy. There's lots of things that you can do focusing on your mind. You can read books on how to decrease your stress levels. You can read books on how to think about the right things rather than the wrong things, cognitive behavioral therapy, acceptance and commitment therapy, all kinds of things to actually go the natural route to help your anxiety or depression. And then there's maximize nerve supply. So C1 in the spine also controls your serotonin centers, which is why I see people all the time when they get adjusted, they don't have high blood, or they don't have anxiety or depression anymore, just from the adjustments, because it's a serotonin problem with a lot of people. Maximize nutrients. Sugar causes depression. If we can eliminate that, we can change the way your body deals with its neurotransmitters. Maximize movement. Exercise 4 days a week has been shown to be more effective than an antidepressant for treating depression. And then minimizing toxins. That's probably not one of the ones I'd really touch on with depression very much, but those 4 things right there, there's your solution. So if you have any of these things and you're really struggling with them, this is what we want to help you with, because we are a 5 Essentials office. So how do you get access to these 5 Essentials and all of these things? I'm going to give you our YouTube page that's been recently updated. You come to the workshops. You can email myself and Dr. Ash. We get back to you within a day for most of these things. We can give you lots of resources. That's what we want to be for you, is a resource. Okay. So now let's look at a couple of things on Maximized Mind. I'm not going to spend a ton of time on it, because one of the next workshops I'm going to do is on Maximized Mind, which is going to be sleep, stress, and mindset. Okay. So we're going to do a whole webinar on that. But just one thing that I always love to show people. This is Jim Rohn. He's one of my favorite people. If you want to listen to a great podcast, you can just go to Apple Podcasts and look up Jim Rohn. He's got a free podcast where he has little motivational speeches on there. And one of his quotes that I always live my life by is, if you really want to do something, you'll find a way. If you don't, you'll find an excuse. Okay. Another thing he says is, you can have results or you can have excuses, but you can't have both. Right. And when I say excuses, people are like, oh, but you don't understand. This is my excuse. This is why I can't do it. This is a reason. And there's a difference between reasons and excuses. But like, there are things that you think you can't overcome, but I'm here to tell you, if you want it bad enough, right? So if you really want to find a way, or if you really want something, you'll find a way. If you don't, you'll find an excuse. And we all know that, right? Like, I want to change my diet. Well, if you really want that, right? If you really wanted that because you got diagnosed with cancer and it was life and death, or, you know, something else, you just got really fed up of feeling the way that you're feeling, and you really want to do it, you will find a way. It's called your big why. But if you don't, you'll find an excuse, which is, it's too hard. It's too expensive. I don't like doing that. It never works for me. It's my family. And we all have them. I'm not saying that I don't have those same things, but I work really hard on tapping into my big why so I can overcome those excuses. So really just, it's starting to analyze, like, what have you put in up on a pedestal as your excuse or your reason why you can't do something. And the reason that that's been put on that sped up pedestal is usually is like, we haven't tapped into our big why. Like, why do you really want to eat well? Why do you really want to exercise more? Why do you really want to get off of these medications? Like, for me, I want to end up on the cruise ship with my wife. You know, I also really want to eat pizza and chocolate chip cookies every day, but I want to end up on the cruise ship with my wife more than I want the pizza and chocolate chip cookies. So that starts with that. That's my mindset. And then I start learning the things on nutrition. I start learning the things on food label reading, which is what I teach you, but it all starts with your mindset and tapping into your big why. So if you've been, you know, diagnosed with whatever illness and you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, then that's a great starting point. Okay. Another thing, Jim, he has a great talk called the Day That Turns Your Life Around. And he talks about how he was always broke his entire life. And he got to a point where a Girl Scout came to his house, and he's in his mid-20s, late 20s, and he can't afford a box of Girl Scout cookies. So he lies to her and says he hasn't gotten paid yet this week, even though he didn't have the money, even if he did get paid. And he just shut the door and he said, man, I just lied to a 10-year-old Girl Scout because I can't get my stuff together here. And he said, so what turned his life around was, that's enough. I'm not doing this anymore, right? So if you get it, I've had it. So if you're at a point with your health where you think, I've had it, that's a good place to be, because that gives you some power to change, okay? Second, this is Dalai Lama. I love this quote. It says, man sacrifices his health in order to make money, and then he sacrifices his money to recuperate his health. So that just that helps me understand I need to invest in my health along the way. I don't want to neglect my health because I'm so busy trying to make money and then try to get it all back I try to get my health back by giving my money all back at the end, which is what most people do. They spend so much of their money in the nursing home, so much of their money on doctor bills, instead of enjoying the thing that they work so hard for. So it's just investing in your health. So what do you need to invest in? Does it cost more money to buy healthy food than just go to a drive-through? That's arguable. It's debatable, actually. If you do cook and make your own food, you will save money. But does it cost a little more to get organic food than junky food? Yeah. It's cost money to go to the chiropractor. Yeah. Does it cost money to, join a gym? Yeah, it does. But those are investments. All right. So your health is an investment, not an expense, but it will become an expense if you don't invest in it. Right. So just continue to invest in the things that make you well. Those are my two big mindset tips for you tonight. Now, another thing on mindset is better sleep. I promised I would talk about this for a few minutes. This is part of Max Mind. We want to be able to sleep because when you're asleep, you are regenerating. It's very hard to have any type of willpower or resilience if you're not sleeping well. It's really hard to feel like eating well if you don't feel well because you're not rested. So 7 to 8 hours a night is what you should get sleep wise. The average American gets 5.5 hours of sleep, which is not even close to enough sleep, guys. So that's 2 REM cycles that you're not getting. And REM cycles are when your body makes serotonin that makes you happy. It consolidates memory. So if you're having memory problems, sleep issues are a big thing. If you're not sleeping, that's going to absolutely cause memory issues, or what we call senior moments. So sleep is a good thing. We need more sleep as we get older. Insomnia is a leading risk factor to a shortened lifespan, which means all-cause mortality is increased by not sleeping enough. So a couple hacks I wanted to give you today for me. The biggest one, if you're having a hard time getting to sleep and staying asleep, then I love the Insomnitol. We have this in the office. This is a chewable. I like this more than I like melatonin because it has melatonin, 5-HTP, and inositol. Inositol helps you get to sleep and stay asleep long-term. 5-HTP regulates your REM cycles, okay? And 5-HTP turns into serotonin. So helps you regulate those REM cycles, those deep sleep cycles. And what I recommend for most people is take 2 of these chewables before you go to bed at night, 10, 15, 20 minutes before you go to bed. You can keep them right next to your bed. This has helped so many people with their sleep. I just had a patient who came in, she was sleeping like 6 hours a night. And she's like, you don't understand. I don't wake up. She's like, now I can go to sleep instead of tossing and turning and having my brain run like crazy. And she's like, now I'm sleeping 8 hours a night. And that's huge. I have another patient who got off of his Ambien recently. He's not on Ambien anymore, largely because of this. We got us some natural things. He's not having to take Ambien anymore. So in Insomnitol, one of the other reasons I'm doing this, by the way, guys, is I want you to invite your friends and family to these things, because I don't care where they are. If they're not here in Colorado or if they're not here in Denver, invite them, because I want everybody to learn this stuff. We have a massive health crisis in our country because we don't understand these 5 essentials. So these are things I fully want you to share. Okay. Number 2, binaural beats. This is another trick of mine. So binaural beats are something that you can listen to train your brain to sleep. So if you're not sleeping well, if you get on your phone right now, you can just go to the App Store and click and just type in binaural beats. If you see this right over here, binaural means two different ears, binaural. And what it does is it plays sounds at a certain wavelength that help match you up to sleep. Okay. So the way that works is, let me move this over here so I can see. Okay. So the way that works is deep sleep is what's called delta waves. So if you hook yourself up to an EEG, deep sleep is called delta waves. Theta waves are learning and creativity. Alpha, positive thinking, fast learning, relaxation. When you're not sleeping, when you're anxious and you can't turn your brain off, you're usually in gamma or beta. Okay. High beta or gamma, which is, these are all great things when you want to be awake, right? When you're learning, when you're trying to learn things, peak awareness, but not great when you're sleeping. So the problem is we get stuck in these brain waves that don't provoke good sleep. So one way to change that is, so the inositol does that in here, but another way to do that is what's called binaural beats. So you get that app for 99 cents, or you can get on YouTube and get them for free if you want to. And you listen with earbuds or headphones. So I use earbuds when I'm sleeping. And I put those in, and it just plays like a nature sound, but in the background, it's playing these alpha waves or theta waves or delta waves, which help your brain. And what happens is your brain actually decreases those waves, brings it down and down and down and down and down. Okay. So that's what we want to do to help you sleep. So alpha, theta, and then delta waves. And you can do those very easily. Number 3, Tricor pillow. This is the pillow that I recommend for good sleep. You can get that at coreproducts.com. And I love it because it has a good neck support for you here. And then when you sleep on your side, you can sleep on your side like this. Your head's not stuck in a hole like that. Okay. So that's Max Mind. Maximize nerve supply. Main thing I want to talk about there is this new rehab video that we're going to be doing. Dr. Ash and I are going to be doing. Text neck is becoming an epidemic, obviously, in our country. It's losing the normal curvature in the spine. This is my neck 30 days ago. So I had a 25-degree curve in my neck 30 days ago. I've always struggled with this because I'm on the computer a lot. If I'm not at the office, I'm writing, I'm doing these things. And then I bend over people all day long, right? So as long as, even though I do cervical rehab, I still have I struggle with my cervical curve. And that's the most important thing that your body has. But over here, after 30 days of doing this rehab, I changed my curve from 25 degrees to 30 degrees. I gained 10 degrees of curvature, which means 50% almost more life to my body. That's called the arc of life. Every cell, tissue, and organ in my body is controlled by the signals through this arc of life. You want to have that curve. If you don't, it increases your risk of all-cause mortality. Okay, so all-cause mortality is increased if you don't have that arc of life. So I went to 35 degrees. So we're going to roll this out to everybody. So we're going to be sending it out to everybody in an email and a text, but it's going to be this video right here. So if you want to get a lot more of this webinar type thing of how to build a better breakfast, how to do lateral moves for a hamburger bun, mindset and brain builders, all of those things, you can go to our Axiom Health Solutions MLMO page. It's Maximized Living Makeover, MLMO, Axiom Health Solutions, MLMO. And it has all of these videos that I've done on it, including this video right here called Cervical Rehab. It's a 4-minute video where Dr. Ash shows you exactly what to do. Now he's going to tell you that you need a band, a little resistance band. We're going to have those for everybody this week and next week. So when you come in, you'll get about a 2-foot band to use. You can start doing this without the band if you want. It's called Brugger's exercise. There's 2 of them. You're going to do one exercise, specifically for your neck to start with the curve. And then we're going to work on a specific stretch that brings the head back up on top of the shoulders. I did it exactly the way he told me to do it in the video. I did it every single day. I didn't miss it. I took another x-ray after 30 days and I had changed that curve in my neck by 10 degrees, which is a miracle if you know anything about this. So again, cervical rehab, you're going to get a link in an email. You're going to get a link in a text as well. If you're not getting that for any reason, you just go to the Axiom Health Solutions MLMO YouTube page. Okay. All right. Essential number 3 is sugar, or nutrition, sorry. The biggest thing we can avoid there is sugar, because sugar is not a food, it's a drug. The way it affects your brain is just like a drug, just like cocaine. So these are some of the things that I use instead of sugar. Lakanto monk fruit extract. Okay. I'm also, by the way, we're going to record this, and this is going to go on the Axiom Health Solutions MLMO page. I'm realizing it's cutting me off a little bit early for whatever reason tonight. I have about 10 more minutes, but if I don't get any of this out to you, this will be on the MLMO page as well, so you can go back and just watch this again. So the Lakanto monk fruit extract, it's completely sugar-free and calorie-free, and actually sweeter than sugar. I use this for almost everything now. You can also use powdered version of that. I use this for like any drinks and things. Smart Sweets, 2 grams of sugar. These are called Red Twist. They're kind of like Red Vines licorice. You can get all of these things on Amazon, which is where I get pretty much all of them since they bought Whole Foods. Lily's chocolate, sweetened with stevia. Lily's dark chocolate caramel, sweetened with stevia. So you don't have to avoid sweet. You can still have all the sweet that you want. You just don't want to get the junky stuff like this. So these are M&Ms over here. And if you look at added sugar grams here, right? So added grams of sugar, 16 grams of sugar in a little snack pack versus this is the little milk dud type things from Lily's. What do you see here? Total sugar is less than 1 gram. And I think these are chocolate caramels, taste much better than this. It's actually much, higher quality product, and you don't have to eat nearly as much because it's, it's sweet and has a lot of good chocolate flavor, and you're not getting all of the artificial colors and everything else and all of this sugar. Okay, so that's a great one. Some flour alternatives instead of using like white flour. Again, when I do these workshops, we're going to take deeper dives into the nutrition side of things. When we do to the essential number 3, I'll show you a lot more of this. But some simple things that I love right now: siete tortillas made with cassava flour. Cassava is a root. Almond flour with Simple Mills. You can get these at Target. You can get this at Target, pasta made with cauliflower instead of white flour. These are all great. Siete also makes tortilla chips. We use their tortillas all the time. They have one that's made with almond flour as well. So when we do tacos, we use those. And they're grain-free, which means they don't cause all that inflammation. Okay. And then 2 other of my favorites. This is Plant Power. These are sandwich thin. So if you ever want to eat a sandwich or a hamburger, these are buns just made with cauliflower. Just a couple of ingredients. They're cauliflower, eggs, and cheese, I believe, is pretty much the only thing in there. And I just put those in the toaster, use those for your sandwich buns, and you're not getting those high, carbohydrate white flour buns. And then Banza, They make pasta, but they also make a pizza crust. This is a frozen pizza crust. So if you're really having a pizza craving, you can make your own pizza. You can get this at Target. You can get this online. You can get this, I think, at King Supers now. And it's made with garbanzo bean flour. So there's so many easier ways to avoid sugar and white flour than there used to be. Okay, so these are a lot of my favorites. Okay. Surge training, I'm just going to spend a second on this because we're going to actually do one of the next webinars that we do is going to be on how to exercise the right way. And how to do, we're actually touring with having a workout at our office as well on how to do this the right way rather than just hopping on a treadmill. So we're going to talk more about surge training and teach you how to move more. Dr. Ash is also going to be doing a monthly movement seminar down at Raw Fitness. They're great. They do a great job of high intensity interval training down there, and they make it in a way so that everybody can do it. You can change, high intensity doesn't mean you have to hurt yourself. It just means you have to get your heart rate up. And they teach you how to do it in a group class. We're going to be teaching a class down there. He's going to do a different, advanced rehab class. So the first one's going to be on just low back pain. If you struggle with a lot of low back pain, or if you know anybody that struggles with that, we want you to bring somebody with you to that class. And he's going to show you the advanced rehab on how to overcome that. Dr. Ash has also helped my back tremendously. I've had back issues for a long time. From playing golf and cycling and things like that. And I've had the best golf season I've had as far as my back goes. So he's going to be teaching that whole rehab routine, and you'll see that coming up here as well. And we're going to do that monthly. So we were almost like giving you more of these 5 essentials and getting you more involved in these, where it's not just, just getting adjusted or just, going to a workshop now and then. We really want to be your source for healthcare. Okay. And then the last is minimizing toxins. I'm going to do a whole workshop on this, or a whole webinar coming up on this. Our last big workshop was on this. But the biggest mindset with toxicity is that when you start to have an overflow of, it's like if you have a bucket and you fill that up with water, when it spills over the top, that's when you have symptoms like sneezing, wheezing, itching, watery eyes, the things that you call your allergies, right? Those are like a spillover. So the way I want to, instead of treating those with some type of symptom or some type of medication, we want to see like what's going into your bucket and how do we reduce the amount of stuff in your bucket. And so stuff would be like toxic chemicals, phthalates, things that make you sick. So make simple changes like in your deodorant. This is Old Spice deodorant. The problem with this, you can't read anything on here. Fragrance, which is phthalates. If you're at the last workshop, phthalates cause breast cancer and a lot of other problems with hormones. And it also has aluminum, which has been linked to breast cancer. So instead of doing that, you make a lateral move and do something like Crystal Essence deodorant spray. This is pomegranate. You can get this at Sprouts, Whole Foods. You can get it online, or you can get this at Target. I use this. This is Schmidt's bergamot and lime. And it's natural deodorant. The smell is actually essential oils rather than artificial fragrance or phthalates, which make you sick. So again, I'm going to put this up on our Axiom Health Solutions MLMO YouTube page, so you can go back and just pause this if you want to write all these things down, and you're going to have plenty of time to pick that apart on your own. But I'm going to do again the full webinars on these as we move forward. So what I wanted you to get tonight is just a couple of little things that you can start changing right away. Maybe you can start eating instead of regular tortillas, you'll eat Siete tortillas, or instead of regular tortilla chips, you'll eat the Siete version, or instead of even eating a normal, hamburger bun from King Supers, you'll get these plant power cauliflower buns. So much easy lateral moves that you can make. And last thing I wanted to announce, we have a Friends and Family Day coming up this Saturday, June 16th from 9 to noon. Dr. Ash is going to be at the office this Saturday, seeing friends, family, people that that need to be in the office that can't make it in during the week. A lot of times, kids have hectic schedules, and we're doing examination and x-ray. It's normally $250. We're doing that for $27, and we're doing that to one of the local food banks that we work with. So we want to do a lot of good by raising money for that food bank. But we really want you to understand that you have the power to be an ambassador for health. If you help people start realizing that the power that they have in the 5 essentials to thrive, then they can overcome anything that they set their mind to. This guy right here is